welcome back to Market to Market. 20 years ago, he came to Trinidad as a photojournalist to do a story on Nobel laureate Derek Walcott. Mesmerized by the landscape, he decided to make Trinidad his home. Now, Italian-born Piero Guerrini is bringing a taste of Italy to Trinidad. Move over cheddar. Italian-styled cheeses made in TNT are taking over. How did Dolce Valle Dairy get started?
We started because of an idea that my friend and myself had about 15 years ago. In Trinidad there is a big abundance of water buffalo. The same water buffalo that in Italy are used to make the mozzarella, the buffalo mozzarella. So because nobody used the milk here, we thought that would be a great idea to do something like that. And he's a master cheesemaker. His father and grandfather were involved in cheese making, so they have a tradition of cheese making going back 3 generations.
Very nice. So how long have you been in business then? The idea started several years ago.
Yeah, it started several years ago. Well, as you know, I live in Trinidad since 20 years. I have this small hotel on the beach, and we started to make cheese about 10 years ago. And we gave sample away. Everybody was really very impressed by the quality. So in the last 3 years, we started with the project, and since 2 years we have the machinery, the workshop and everything to do the cheese, to do what we want to do. Before we were doing it in the hotel, in the kitchen of the hotel.
Tell us about your line of cheeses.
Okay. We do traditional Italian cheeses, mostly from the center part of Italy, with a Caribbean twist. So we start with the idea to do traditional Italian cheeses, and then in the last 6 months we realized that it would be fair for us to be called Caribbean cheesemakers, because we really have tried to adapt the flavor of our cheese to what the people in the Caribbean likes. And therefore we have now cheese with pepper, with nutmeg and with rosemary, but we are also experimenting with sorrel, with dry mango, and with shadow benny. So those are coming soon.
That shadow benny cheese sounds very interesting.
It is very interesting.
And can you take us through the production process from milking the cows to getting the cheese on the plates?
All right. Okay. When the milk is transported, is stored in a vehicle that is refrigerated. That is a very important aspect of the whole operation, because those 2 or 3 hours really guarantee the quality of the milk. So when you arrive in our factory, the milk is stored overnight in those chillers that you saw, those round cooler, and the milk has been agitated and kept at a certain temperature. The next day is poured into big vat, where it is first pasteurized and then is coagulated and put it in mold to become cheese. Very simple. Very simple. What is really important in the cheese making is the consistency of what you do, the cleanliness of your working place, and of course the ability to recognize if there is any kind of small differences in the milk, because the milk is not always the same. So we have been obtaining quite a consistent quality, and we already sell cheese through the region. We already sell cheese in Grenada and in Barbados soon. So it's a very interesting project.
Have you had to work with Culinary or Chemistry, Food and Drugs in getting the cheeses prepared for the markets?
We are working with the Food and Drug Lab, and we haven't had a chance to get in touch with Culinary yet, that I think they will be involved in the possible permit to export the cheese. Now we are really doing testing in the other island to see if we can be competitive, and above all, if there is a market for our product. And somehow those islands where there is more tourism, we feel that is more in the local, the local dishes that they use and consume, especially the sailor. There is always the wine and cheese, and having cheese as a little snack. So the fact that we have to transport it, that is another challenge. Okay? And we are coming up with a very good idea, meaning to transport them with a sailboat.
Have you consulted with Export TT with for help in that area?
We are in the process of doing so, of course. We are in the process of doing so. Last year it was my first year of operation, and the health inspector has been very attentive and very keen to put us at the standard where he wants us to be able to get the proper document and certification. So as you can see, we are expanding the cheese factory to satisfy this demand. So yeah, we feel that there is a big help from the authorities so far, and that is very encouraging. The Ministry of Food Production came to visit us. He was here for another reason. He was opening the fish depot, and he came and he was so impressed from what we're doing that he said, I want to help you to really make it more feasible, and what do you need from us? And I said that, you know, it would be very important for us to try to obtain a subsidy on the milk. And that is the same facility that the government extended to Nestlé, for example. And we are going through the process, but so far there has been very positive response. So that will make a big difference from us.
Where do you source the milk from currently?
There are two main milking areas in the country. One is Carlson Field in Chaguanas, and the other one is Waller Field close to the airport. There is also a new area now that where there is a lot of production of milk, and that is Touré, close to Sangre Grande. So basically we have one supplier from these three areas, one in each area. When the demand for our produce will increase, hopefully, then we will have to find more supplier of milk. And I think we will be not having a big problem in doing so, because we pay the milk to the farmer more than what they would perceive from Nestlé. And we pay also the milk cash. We pay it on the spot as we buy it.
Okay. What has consumer response been like to the cheeses? Is there a market for it in Trinidad?
Yes, absolutely, there is market. If you look into the central statistic number, you will see that there is a huge consumption of cheese in Trinidad. Something like 9 million pounds of cheese, I think, they are eaten in Trinidad every year. Even in the countryside, that's the most common thing to eat. Bread and cheese, bread and cheese, bread and cheese, bread and cheese. Except that people here, they've been always used to one kind of cheese, and that is the cheddar cheese that comes from New Zealand. We will never be able to compete in terms of price with what the cheddar cheese costs now. And that is quite intriguing, considering that this cheese comes from the other side of the world. You know. The fact is that that cheese is not real cheese. It is a base of cheese with the addition of other things. If you put cheddar on the sun, it will just disappear. So it's basically a combination of oil kept together. And that's why there is not only milk in that cheese. You know. We are very keen to maintain our integrity in the cheese making process. So we don't use absolutely anything, you know, strange to the cheese making.
How much cheese did you produce last year? What is the demand like? Yeah.
Okay, we have been trying to keep between 500 to 600 milk of liter per week processing. Okay, if you consider that the yield of cheese is about, let's say, 10% for calculation purposes. So we had about 50, 60 kilo per week. That is about 150 pounds per week. We have absolutely been able to sell all of this. And most of it is yogurt, that is a much higher yield, and we do sell a lot of yogurt already now. So I would say about 50 kilo, 2,000 around a kilo, about 7,000 or 8,000, maybe 10,000 pounds of cheese. Last year we did, yes.
Do you plan, or do you project expansion and production this year?
Of course. This year has basically been a market testing, you know, for us. No. We want to absolutely. We have the potentiality and the machinery and the working force to do maybe 10 times more this amount of cheese, and that's really what we aim at. You know. The big challenge will be really to have availability of milk. So maybe in the future we will plan to have some cow as well. As a matter of fact, I did start with the idea to have our own animals. I already had 10 cows. Unfortunately, I recognized that the land for this 10 animal was not enough. And above all, the person that was taking care of this animal, he was my farmer, and he did die last year, so I had to stop that project. So in the future, I would like to produce milk. Especially, I think I would like to do goat milk. So we like to have goat and then produce cheese.
Is goat cheeses are popular in Italy?
No, it would be very popular here, I think. You know, it would be very popular here. When we go to the market, about half of the people ask us if we do goat milk cheese.
That's at up markets?
Yeah, at the up market. We go to other market as well. There has been this market called Bits and Pieces. There is another one called Gourmet Market in South. There is this flourishing of this occasion. There has been one on several yoga places in Port of Spain. So we do it because we like to have the immediate response of what people think of our cheeses. And they love it. They love it. And the second question that they ask is this made in Trinidad? You know, and people are very proud of things that are made in the country. So yes, absolutely, it's made in Trinidad, and that's why I want it to be known like a Caribbean cheese, a Trinidadian cheese, absolutely.
Besides the markets that you go to, how else do you promote the cheeses?
We don't really do any advertisement yet. We don't do any advertisement yet. We are trying to fine-tune the whole operation for then be ready for a potential big increase.
Where can interested customers find the products?
Right now, they can find product in several gourmet shops. Malabar Farm, Petit Gourmet, RT, Starlight Pharmacy already sell our stuff. A place in Woodbrook that has been the first place to carry our cheese is an organic place called Newest Organic. We sell to several restaurants, mostly the fancy restaurants, Shaw, Buzo, Hilton. We are basically trying to really understand the potential of this business and really go to. We want to spread. You know, I've been going to Grenada already twice because there is the university there,
right.
And the university is very interested in buying directly from us yogurt. That will make an incredible, difference in our business. We are able to have constant supplier to one big demand. So people can also buy it calling us or coming to visit us. We are quite open to visit at the cheese making place, and in the future we plan to have one day per month where people can come and visit and see a little bit of the basic process of making cheese.
We've come to the end of this week's episode of Market to Market. I am Kristle Gangadeen, and on behalf of the Market to Market team, thank you for watching. The American poet Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "If we did all the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves." We wish you a productive week. Don't forget to drop us a line on Twitter or Facebook. Take care, and we'll see you next week.